Hello friends, welcome to Oracle 26 AI new feature video series. In this video, we are going to learn about what is if not exists syntax support from 26 AI means, and we are going to understand this feature using 5 examples so that it is easy for us to understand when to use, how to use, and what are the limitations with respect to this feature. Let us start understanding what is this feature if not exists syntax support means. Basically, as part of DDL syntax, Oracle has introduced two modifiers called if exist and if not exist, basically to suppress the error message in case the object we are trying to modify as part of the DDL statement. Let us understand with a very simple example. So here I am trying to create a table called t_amp. So here is the table creation script. When we execute this table creation script, obviously it will give a message saying that table t_amp created in case if there is no syntax error in this statement, right? Now the table is created. Suppose if we try to re-execute the same statement again, in the first statement itself the table has actually got created. When you try to recreate the table again, what will happen is Oracle will give an error message saying that the table what we are trying to create is already exists, saying that name already exists, right? This is an expected error message because the table what we are trying to create, an object with the same name already exists. So that is the clear expectation. However, starting from 26 AI onwards, Oracle has introduced a modifier called if exists or if not exists, which we can use as part of this DDL statement, something like this. Now, if you see here, as part of this create table statement, we are using if not exist. We are just saying that create table if not exist t_emp. So in this case, what Oracle will do, whether the table, suppose if the table was not there, it will create the table. If the table is created, it will not create the table. It will just simply say the message saying that table created. Basically, this will help us to suppress the error message. Maybe it will be helpful in case if we try to recreate the same script or rerun the same script again and again, right? Now we'll try to understand this feature using 5 examples. Let's start with the demo. Let's start with the first demo of table creation. So here I'm trying to create a table called t_emp. As expected, the table is created. Now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to recreate the table again. So I'm executing this statement in the line number 3. So as expected, we are getting an error saying that name is already used by an existing object. So now what we are going to do, we are just going to introduce this keyword which is introduced as part of 26 AI saying that if not exists. Create table if not exists followed by the rest of the syntax. Now let me try to execute the statement in line number 5. As expected, you can see here, now we are not getting any error message. In fact, you can execute this statement any number of times. Let me clear this log and let me re-execute the statement in line number 5 n number of times. As you can keep executing this statement again and again, it will not give any error message. Instead, it will suppress the error message and it will simply say that the table is created, right? Now let us understand one more example. Now what I am trying to do, I am just trying to drop the table, right? As expected, this drop table name will drop the table, right? Now, if you can see, we dropped the table and we got a message saying that table t_emp dropped, right? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm trying to redrop the table again using the statement in the line number 9. I'm trying to execute the statement. Now, if you see, we got an error saying that the table does not exist, obviously, right? Because the table was already dropped as part of the statement in line number 7. So, we got this error. Now, we can introduce the if exists class we can use here, right? Now I'm saying drop table if exist t_emp. So this also will suppress the error message, right? Instead of that, this will simply say the table is dropped. You can execute this any number of times as I'm showing you here. It will not give the error, but it will suppress the error and just give an information like the table is dropped. Let me clear the log. And finally, this if exist and if not exist is not just for create or drop. It's applicable for alter also. For example, in this case, I'm trying to alter a table which is not actually there. I didn't create a table called t_emp not exist. I didn't create this. Now, if I try to execute this alter statement, we will get an error saying that the table t does not exist. So what we can do as part of this alter also, we can simply specify alter table if exist. So in this case, it will just alter only if the table is exist. Otherwise, it will just give error message saying that table altered. Okay, sometimes it is not so useful feature because sometimes as a developer, we want to see what is the actual error message so that it is easy for us to go on correct. But sometimes the log, you don't want to display any error message. You basically want to suppress the error message. Whenever you want to rerun the same script again and again, then you can go ahead and use this feature, right? Now let us move to our next example of using these if not exist as part of the view. Okay, now I'm trying to create the table the table is created. Now what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to create a very simple view called t underscore employee view. So here is a very simple view statement, right? Create or replace view name as followed by a select statement, right? Let me create the table. Okay, so this create or replace will create the view if not exists. The replace keyword will instruct to override the view if it is already exists. So basically we are either creating or overwriting the existing view. Okay, now as part of this we can use create view if not exist. In fact, create or replace as well as create view if not exist, both are same. Either you can use it like this or you can use it like this. Okay, this also will create. However, we cannot combine both. Let me show you the example. What I mean by you cannot combine both is we cannot say create or replace view if not exist. Either we have to use a create or replace, or we need to say create view if not exist. We should not combine both. Let me try to execute this statement. Now if we try to execute that, we'll get an error message saying that replace and if not exist cannot coexist in the same DDL statement. So make sure you either use a create or replace, or you simply say create if not exist syntax. Okay, with this we'll move to our third example. So here I'm trying to create a synonym, right? So this is also very similar to the view. I'm trying to create a synonym. In case if the synonym already exists, the replace keyword will instruct to override the synonym, right? Then now the synonym is created. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just saying create synonym if not exists. So this is also very similar to view. Either you can say create synonym if not exists. So this will just go ahead and create the synonym in case if it is not there, right? I say very similar to view, we cannot use both replace as well as if not exist. If you try to use both, obviously you will get an error message saying that replace and if not exist cannot coexist in the same DDL statement. With this, we'll move to the fourth example of function, right? So because I want to show both SQL as well as in PLSQL, so here I'm trying to create a very simple function which is just returning a numerical number here, right? So we just created the function f1 is created. Now, so here also what we can do, we can use create function if not exist. Very similar to the view synonym cases. You can either use create or replace function, basically to create the function or override the function, or you can say create function if not exist. Now let me try to execute the second set of function here. So here also you will be able to create. Very similar to view cases, here also we should not use both replace as well as the if not exist. If you try to use something like this, then we will get in the same error message saying that replace and if not exist cannot coexist in the same DDL statement. Okay. Now in all these four examples, we have seen how to use the if not exist and if exist classes. However, this we cannot use for certain scenarios. That's what we are going to see. I am going to show you an example of creating a private temporary table. So here is a very simple syntax. I am creating a private temporary table called Aura $PTT my temp table. Table is created. Now I am trying to create the private temporary table by specifying if not exist class, right? I am trying to execute this. So here we will not be able to use this if not exist class, because this if not exist and if exists are applicable only for certain objects and not for all the objects. So we should know. So this is one of the limitation, right? Similarly, I'm trying to drop the table. Now the private temporary table is dropped. However, very similar to our normal table, if I try to drop this table by using the if exist class, we will get an error saying that if exist class cannot be used with the current DDL. Okay. So to know what are all the objects this if exist and if not exist is applicable, you can always look into the documentation. Though I have given the screenshot of that, I would recommend you to always look into the Oracle documentation. As I told you, there are certain limitations. This if exist and if not exist modifiers cannot be used for these set of alter statements and DDL statements like alter table drop partition, alter table collage partition, alter table move command, alter materialized view merge partition, alter materialized view compile statement, and create and drop private temporary table. In all these cases, we will not be able to use. I will always suggest you to look for the document to get the complete list of the limitation as well as where we can go and use these feature. I hope you would have learned something new. If yes, please like this video. If you want any questions to be answered, please post it in the comment section or you can drop to this mail ID. And thanks a lot for watching this video.